Hi, everybody, and welcome back. And thanks for starting off the first full week of June with us here at Your News Today, even though there's not much June in your forecast. We're pretty much going to skip the 80s, and I'm talking about going from daytime highs in the very comfortable and lovely 70s to the 90s. It's never where it should be in Kentucky, and especially in the eastern part of the state as well. And that's pretty close to what we're going to do. We might see a few days, or at least one with the upper 80s, before we make that changeover into the 90-degree threshold. But indeed, that's the setup. I mean, I've got temperatures in the low to mid 70s. Beautiful conditions, mind you, throughout most of the week, and dry and calm, mind you, as well. Haven't said all that in a long, long time. But indeed, the heat's going to arrive, and it's going to do so very quickly, and a big change up in store. We'll have a beautiful, albeit warming forecast for you in just a few moments. Before we talk about tonight's show and headlines, just to give you a bit of information about the calendar that I've just made for myself and a brief portion thereof, actually. In just a few days, this Saturday will mark the 2-month period since the Supreme Court of Kentucky had the case of the McGoffin County election for 2014 in its midst. It was sent out for review for the Supreme Court in Kentucky on April the 11th. So we're now on a daily basis closely watching that situation. Also on a daily basis checking in with the Kentucky State Auditor to get the audit report for McGoffin County. As far as other dates on our calendar, this Thursday marks the pretrial conference set for Larry Shepard, Gary Rooster Reisner, Chammy Joe Reiser, those charged in the McGoffin County election fraud case, with their trial date still set for July the 5th. The pretrial conference for Mayor Bob Porter of Paintsville is set for next Thursday, the 16th. I have a library board meeting in the morning and a host of other meetings throughout the week as well. So that's all just a few things on our immediate calendar. Immediately following just a brief break, we'll talk about the court appearance today for 3 individuals, 3 adults, and 2 former McGoffin County school employees, all charged with unlawful transaction with a minor after police busted up a party at one of the adults' homes just a few weeks ago. I'll be right back. I spent much of the day in McGoffin County District Court, which is where much of our news will come from this evening. One of the primary cases that we were following was that of the arraignment scheduled for 3 people: a former McGoffin County teacher, a former McGoffin County school system employee, and a third adult, an acquaintance of one of the 2 men, all charged with unlawful transaction of a minor. It was a brief court hearing earlier today, as all 3 individuals, each facing 5 counts of unlawful transaction with a minor, were scheduled to be arraigned, with a public defender being appointed for one and attorney Ned Pillersdorf representing 2 others: former McGoffin County Schools maintenance employee Wendell King and former carpentry teacher Darrell Peters. Pillersdorf in court filed a motion for a 60-day discovery. That motion was granted by District Judge Dennis Prater, and their next court date was set for August the 8th. The third adult charged, 22-year-old Leah Van Hoos, said to have been King's girlfriend at the time, was also given an August 8th court date. All this after a Facebook video that caught the eye of Kentucky State Police and local authorities. A video that ultimately led the Kentucky State Police and Sayersville City Police Department to the residence of Wendell King on Patrick Drive in Sayersville. In their citations, authorities noted that they discovered several teenagers and students in the McGoffin County school system partying at that residence, ages ranging from 14 to 19 years of age, 2 of which had to be taken to the hospital, one of those 2 unresponsive from suspected alcohol consumption. Following the hearing, Pillersdorf commented that his clients maintained their innocence, that they did not, as they maintain, give alcohol to minors. And Pillersdorf also noted that it's not a crime to be at a party where juveniles show up. A local man arrested 1 week ago today, charged with first-degree wanton endangerment, first-degree unlawful imprisonment, and first-degree criminal mischief, was before Judge Prater earlier today in district court after Kentucky State Police say that he shot at an employee of a company who was repossessing a vehicle that belonged to him. Trooper Johnson with Kentucky State Police Post 9 reiterated before the judge and the county attorney and those present, as he did in his citation, that he was called to a vehicle repo worker who was reportedly fired upon in the process of repossessing a vehicle on O.J. Barnett Cemetery Road. Johnson told the judge that he witnessed that the employee's vehicle did have bullet holes, one that went through the rear glass and the other through a passenger fender, and that the vehicle to be repossessed had also been hit by a bullet in the fender. He said that the repossession employee, and the victim in this case, described the shooter as being a white male with gray hair who at the time was wearing shorts and no shirt, but was riding a lawnmower, waving an automatic rifle with a wooden stock. Johnson also said that he later recovered a weapon at the residence of James C. Barnett that matched that description. He also found a spent .22 caliber casing in the driveway of his residence as well. In his statement to police, James C. Barnett told the authorities that there were individuals that he discovered on his property and that he locked the gate behind them, and that one of them then got in Barnett's car and tried to run him over. Barnett told authorities that he hadn't fired his weapon that day whatsoever. A gunshot residue test was conducted. Those results are pending from the lab. And in addition to the previous charges, Barnett was later charged with being a convicted felon in possession of a firearm once his record was confirmed. The trooper also noted before the judge that the rounds of ammunition that were discovered in the weapon matched the same brand and type of the spent casing found in the driveway. And after all these statements were entered into evidence, Judge Prater determined that there was enough information and evidence to warrant the case being forwarded or presented before the grand jury. In a follow-up from an arrest that I reported on just last week, a Sagersville man also was in district court today on charges of sexual abuse in the first degree, resisting, menacing, criminal mischief, disorderly conduct, indecent exposure, criminal trespassing, and terroristic threatening. He's been lodged in the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center since his arrest by Sagersville City Police Officer Jeremy Watson, who told the judge today that he responded to a call of an intoxicated individual in a trailer park behind the Sagersville Rite Aid. He found that individual walking, as I told you in last week's report. He also made contact with the caller, who was distraught and claimed that the accused had made improper contact with her, had also exposed himself to her, possibly others in the area as well. And after refusing to be arrested, he was tased and then sprayed with pepper spray before complying with authorities' commands. Willis Scott Prater pled guilty to all the before-mentioned charges, with the sexual abuse and the first-degree charge determined to be an attempt at sexual abuse, which does not carry the same penalty. He also agreed to have no contact with the victim, and he also agreed to a 2-year probationary term, in which if he violates any terms of that probation, he will be required to serve 1 year in jail. The criminal mischief charge, I learned today, was brought about by the damages done to the officer's cruiser. Jeremy Watson told the judge and others today that he kicked out the back window and warped the rear door of his cruiser while he was being taken into custody. Cases brought before the judge today, a couple of which we're still awaiting some further information on. I'll have a report to follow on those. For now, another brief message, a word or two from some of our sponsors. Let them know you're watching when you can. I'll be right back. More headlines in a moment. Right now, let's tune in and find out what's happening. A new week usually means a new calendar, brought to you by McGoffin Farm Bureau. And a birthday wish to begin it all. A happy big second birthday to Trenton Lee Jenkins. Mom, Dad, family, and friends. 2 years old is Trenton Lee Jenkins. Happy birthday. This is notification that North McGoffin Elementary Site-Based Council has a regular session meeting set for this week, for this Wednesday at 4:30 in the school's conference room. A reminder, today began the 3-week-long county-wide cleanup program in McGoffin. It's District 1 all this week, District 2 next week, District 3 thereafter. You can contact the Solid Waste Coordinator, Frankie Collett, at 496-6179 if you have any questions. They'll take those large, bulky items you can't normally put out, including appliances, things of that nature, furniture. They can also not take hazardous materials or construction debris or material, such as insulation, windows, wood, things of that nature. They will pick up old tires if they're not on the rim. And probably our last reminder about Vacation Bible School. It started tonight as well, and it's the rest of the week, 5:45 to 8 at Sagersville First Baptist Church. Submerged, finding the truth below the surface. And they're looking for an exciting time with a great cause behind it this Friday night in Sagersville. The 5K Glow Run Walk, sponsored by the New Generation Church, is this Friday evening at 7:30. New Generation Church is sponsoring the run, and it is an event for you to run, walk, donate, or any or all of the three above three. All proceeds going to buy Christmas boxes for children in Haiti. The run is Friday, 9:30 at the Ramey Park. You can register that evening, or you can go online to register at ngcfamily.org. Now, this is a night glow run, so make sure you come decorated in glow sticks or what have you, and prizes will be awarded to the top runner in each category, and they also have some you can purchase on site as well. They just hope you'll be there. And race day entry is $30. Kids, though, 7 to 13, $15. 6 and under, free. And remember, for birthdays and anniversaries or any of your group or organizational church announcement, tell me and we'll tell everyone else about it. Mail, email, Facebook, phone, fax, drop it off here at the studio. However you can get it to us, we'll get it out there for everyone to hear. Turning to funeral service announcements this Monday, 87-year-old Brian Curtis Rice, known to all who knew him as Peck, of Sitka, passed away on the 5th, married to Helen Arms Rice, who preceded him in death. He's survived by daughters Brianna Music and Shanna Lee Graves. Visitation will be after 5 o'clock tomorrow, all day Wednesday, and prior to Thursday's services that are set for 1 o'clock. Visitation and services from the Sitka Free Will Baptist Church. The Sayersville Funeral Home is in charge of arrangements. For high-speed internet starting at 15 meg for all of your gaming, movie, home, and business solutions, or to watch TV, including your favorite local channels without a contract, with hundreds of channels and digital and HD quality, and to stay connected 24/7 with friends and family, a direct line to 911, or to give your business the link it needs, choose telephone service you know is always there. Just click on their link on this site to find out how affordable the latest technology in communications can be. Foothills Communications. After a response from a federal appeals court panel, it appears as though former Morgan County Judge Executive Tim Connolly will remain in federal prison until 2021. That is barring any other legal developments, which attorneys for Connolly say that they are mulling over at this time. All this after a panel of the Federal Appeals Court has officially dismissed former Morgan County Judge Executive Tim Connolly's challenge to his guilty plea and subsequent sentence in the corruption case, in which Connolly is now serving 7 years after he pleaded guilty back in August of 2014 to mail fraud in connection with a kickback scheme that also involved a Sayersville business that, according to federal authorities, netted Connolly an estimated $130,000 in kickbacks after Connolly was said to have taken those kickbacks after bid rigging, essentially taking bids sent in by an area company, a Sayersville company, those bids being opened and altered behind closed doors, and then after awarding those contracts to that business, getting a kickback in return. Jerry Anderson, who is legal representation for Connolly, did argue that Connolly had not fully understood the elements of the crime on which he admitted guilt in filing the appeal, and they also argued on Connolly's behalf that federal prosecutors broke their plea agreement with Connolly by asking the judge for a sentence of more than 11 years, which was longer than the maximum calculated under advisory sentencing guidelines. Prosecutors, meanwhile, contended in discussing the appeal that Connolly actually deserved the longer sentence because of his conduct and it being especially egregious in its illegal nature. Federal prosecutors, in their argument, said that Connolly had already waived his right to challenge the guilty plea and or the sentence, and the panel of judges apparently agreed. They wrote in part that the prosecutor in the case did read the elements of the charge against Connolly in what they referred to as, quote, readily understandable words during his plea hearing, and that Connolly acknowledged the facts against him and that the government could prove he committed mail fraud, and that the plea deal did not bar the government from seeking a longer sentence against the former judge executive. His attorney Anderson did indicate that he is considering as to whether or not ask the full appeals court to review this ruling. And Connolly, as I said at the start of the report, is scheduled to be released from the West Virginia prison he is still incarcerated in 2021. Looking at the clock, well, I did have actually some more district court coverage from earlier today, but there was just a bit of information that we needed to include that on tonight's programming that I just don't have at this hour. So with that omittance, I'm going to run a bit short. The good news for all of that is I've still got plenty of news for the rest of the week, and that you get to get out and enjoy a beautiful end to a beautiful Monday. And we've got some more in store, but we're going to be, off schedule as far as the calendar is concerned, because we're going to be stuck in the 70s for quite some time, and then like flipping a switch, we'll jump right into the 90s as far as temperatures go. Here's how your Licking Valley RECC forecast is shaping up, with partly cloudy skies tonight and a low right around 60, 61. You can also expect a southwest wind, maybe 5 to 7 miles per hour. You can also see those winds coming from the western direction for the next couple of days. In fact, tomorrow we'll see mostly sunny skies, 76 beautiful degrees, and that west wind 5 to 10, but maybe gusting closer to 20 miles per hour at times. So it's going to be a bit breezy, but just beautifully perfect. I mean, 76 and mostly sunny, and we're definitely due. Tomorrow night, 53 degrees is where we should fall. We'll do so under partly cloudy skies. Midweek, 73. That's the lowest that we have as far as temperatures go, and that is midweek. And we'll follow that up with a 50-degree nighttime low, mostly sunny, mostly clear skies, start to finish. And if you like the 70s, we'll cruise right on through Thursday with them. Temperatures are going to start to climb, and actually, in the latest update, just coming down, I've got temperatures that are going to be stuck in the 80s on Friday, and maybe we'll hit the 90s on Saturday. Thursday, sunny, partly cloudy that night, 77, 59, perfect. Friday, mostly sunny, 83, partly cloudy, 65. You will see that 20% chance of some showers at the bottom of your screen. I put that in there as a technicality because it's in the forecast, but right now, not really feeling it quite so much. More on that towards the latter part of the week. If we do see them, they'll be brief, and that's just a part of the changeover as the heat will start to roll in. We will see heat Saturday, 88 to 90 degrees, I do believe, 68 for nighttime lows, sunny and clear. By Sunday, upper 80s, maybe 90s again, and then Monday of next week, pretty much the same. So while we will be in the 80s a little more than what I said at the start of the show, it will be brief as we'll go from definitely upper 70s, maybe low 80s, to definitely upper 80s, I think, for most all of your weekend. Well, that's it. That's a wrap. As I alluded to at the very beginning of the program, a whole lot of news to start working on as soon as I leave you for the rest of what I hope is a beautiful Monday evening. We certainly got some beautiful weather in store the rest of this week. Enjoy it, because the 90s will be here before you know it. Thanks for watching, and have a good night.